They said the blind human wouldn't notice. That was the whisper that passed across the whole of the Karun clan the night they brought Lin before them. He had been living among the alien tribes for months now, learning their culture, their terrain, and offering whatever human skills he could in return for shelter. His ship had crashed on their moonless world, a place of echoing canyons and glowing moss fields, and the Karun had taken him in partly out of curiosity, partly out of pity. But now their ancient custom demanded an exchange, a pairing between guest and host, and the clan elders, thinking him harmless, thought it wise to give him the one daughter no one else wanted. She was called Veskira, the ugly sister, a cruel label passed by those who judged her too different, even among her own kind. The elders thought Lin would never know the difference. After all, how could a blind human see what they all saw? Lin stood quietly as they brought her forward. He heard the murmurs, the shifting feet, the faint hiss of someone drawing in a breath. But what he sensed most was the trembling, not his, but hers. Veskira stepped closer, her claws softened, to avoid frightening him, clicking lightly on the stone floor. She said nothing, but her breathing wavered like a creature bracing for pain. Lin tilted his head, listening, forming the shape of her presence through sound, warmth, and the way the air shifted around her. She was tall, he could tell that much, her shadow falling over him in a way that felt both imposing and hesitant. There was a faint scent about her too, not unpleasant, just different, like damp earth after rain mixed with a metallic sweetness. Veskira, an elder announced, is now your bond sister until your debt is repaid. A flicker of anger touched Lin's chest, not at her, never at her, but at the way the elder said her name, as if apologizing for her existence. Lin extended his hand slowly, gently. Veskira hesitated, then placed her palm in his. It was warmer than he expected. Her skin textured slightly, like patterned stone, but soft at the ridges. The moment surprised them both. That night they were led to the lower shelters near the glowing moss fields. The Karun believed it adequate for someone like her and someone like him. They believed he wouldn't notice the slight, that they wouldn't sense the pity or the dismissal. But Lin had lived without sight long enough to catch the tone of every voice around him, and Veskira had lived long enough to expect nothing better. Inside the shelter, silence stretched between them. Lin waited, knowing that forcing conversation might only deepen her discomfort. Finally, Veskira spoke, her voice lower than other Karun women, with a layered resonance that vibrated faintly in the air. "You don't have to pretend," she said. "I know why they chose me." Lin sat down carefully on a carved stone seat. "Why do you think they chose you?" She gave a bitter huff, part laugh, part exhale. "Because I'm wrong. The others are smooth-skinned, symmetrical, graceful. I was not born like them. Too many spines. Patterns too chaotic. Eyes too bright. A face they think a blind human won't mind." Lin smiled softly. "They're wrong. Don't mind. Se flinchet. I understand. I mind," he continued. "That they treat you poorly." Veskira frosty. And in that pause Lin felt her defenses shift, like an animal unsure whether to flee or listen. You don't know what I look like." "No," Lin said, "I don't. But I know what you sound like. How carefully you walk so you won't startle me. How you breathed out when you thought the elders mocked you. How your voice shakes when you speak about yourself. Not because you believe their words, but because they've carved them into you for so long that you think they belong to you." He could almost feel her stare. "I know enough," he added, for the first time in years, maybe in her life. Veskira didn't know how to answer. Days passed, and their strange bond deepened. Lin learned her movements by sound alone, the gentle rhythm of her breathing when she slept, the way her spines rustled when she was nervous, the soft clicks she made when thinking. He found it comforting. She found it terrifying at first. Someone noticing her, someone paying attention without seeing what others saw. She guided him through the glowing moss fields, describing colors he would never see but could feel from her voice. She pressed his hand to the warm rocks where ancient symbols were carved. He told her human stories in return. Stories of oceans and wind and cities full of noise. She laughed, truly laughed. A sound like chimes struck underwater. Whispers filled the clan. They had expected the blind human to recoil once he learned her shape by touch, but he never asked. He never needed to. And Veskira, once shrinking into shadows, now walked taller. One afternoon, during a gathering, an arrogant warrior named Tharn sneered at Veskira, loudly enough for Lyn to hear. "How loyal the human is," he said. He cannot see the creature beside him, or he would run screaming back to his broken ship. Lyn stepped forward, his voice calm but sharp. "I may not see your faces," he said, "but I see your intentions clearer than any of you." The hall went silent. "You judge her for what she looks like, but I judge by what I know. And I know none of you have shown me even a fraction of the kindness she has." Tharn scoffed. "Say that again when you know her true form." Veskira shivered. She feared this moment more than anything. Lyn reached out, finding her hand. She tried to pull away, but he held gently. "If you will allow me," he sighed softly. Trembling, she guided his hand to her face. Her skin was warm, textured with intricate ridges. Her cheekbones were high, her jaw strong, her features sharp in ways humans would never mirror. He traced the delicate spines above her brow, the smooth plaits along her cheek, the shape of her bright, large eyes. Not once did he recoil. She let out a broken sound, not fear, but relief so deep it almost collapsed her. "Now you know," she whispered, shaking. "I know," he agreed softly, "and you're extraordinary." The hall was silent again, but for a different reason. Respect, the kind the clan rarely gave freely, settled around them. From that day, the whispers changed, not about the ugly sister, but about the bond no one had expected. Veskira walked proudly at Lyn's side, and Lyn learned the shape of a world not through sight, but through the trust of someone who had once believed she was unworthy of being seen at all. And what happened, in the end, was simple. The blind human noticed everything, except the flaws she believed she had. He never found those, not because he couldn't see, but